ZETMAN, a boy with superpowers as an innocent soul. In a world where genetic engineering has created superheroes, a young boy named Jin must learn to control his powers and protect humanity as ZETMAN. But as he battles against dangerous villains and faces the challenges of growing up, his innocent souls also show off. The story begins with the appearance of the players being that looks like humans but have special powers. Kanzaki, a man who takes care of Jin, saves him as a baby and raises him in his home, but in the process, they become homeless. 10 years later, Jin saves a girl named Akemi from some thugs and reunites with his childhood friends Kuga and Konoha. However, when Jin returns home, he finds everyone dead, but he doesn't understand what dead means. He tries to take Kanzaki to a doctor but ends up going to Akemi's place instead. Ah, such an innocent soul. Unfortunately, a player attacks both of them, and she is severely injured. This makes him angry, and he transforms into a Zet to defeat the player, but faints as he is still weak to show so much power. Later, an investigator explains to him that hope for him is Akemi. He visits her in the hospital and they share a hug. Jin's past also comes back to haunt him as he meets a group of people who knew him as a child. They say that Jin is actually a product of a genetic experiment and was created to be a weapon. Jin is surprised by this revelation and fights with his identity issues and despair. However, he and Koga team up to stop a dangerous player named Hayami. They follow him to a laboratory where they find other players being experimented on. Hayami reveals that he is working for a group called Amagi Corporation and that they are creating artificial players. Kuga is shocked to learn that his father, who runs Amagi Corporation, is involved in this. Jin and Kuga manage to escape with the help of the other players, but Hayami unleashes a powerful weapon to stop them. Jin transforms into Zet and fights him, while Kuga uses his new abilities to protect the other players. Well, it is a lot of action. Jin is taken in by a group of homeless people who live in an abandoned building. They are a friendly bunch who offer Jin food and shelter. He meets a young girl named Hanako. She's a bit of a troublemaker, but Jin sees the good in her and tries to help her out. As the players followed her, soon they attack her, but Jin appears and fights off the player. However, it is obvious that he is not as strong as them yet. The investigators all show up to handle the situation, but Koga is shocked to see Jin fighting as a superhuman. He tries to become a superhero by creating real-life alphas. He is inspired by the actions of Jin and wants to follow in his footsteps. Meanwhile, a mysterious man approaches Koga and offers him a test to see if he's qualified to become an alpha. He then continues his training to become an alpha and start to gain new powers. He also gets a new suit that allows him to fly and shoot energy blasts. He is excited about his new powers and can't wait to show them off to his friends. Konoha gets kidnapped by some thugs who are after her father, a rich businessman. Jin tries to save her, but he's unable to transform into Zet, his superpowered alter ego. But Jin feeling helpless, Konoha's father steps in to help. He uses his connections to bring in the police and negotiate with the kidnappers. But as the situation intensifies, it becomes clear that the kidnappers are not just after money, and her life is in danger. Jin realizes that he has to do something to save her, even if it means putting himself at risk. He manages to summon a burst of strength and speed, and the fight between Zet and the player continues. Zet is now red and shows his true power, overpowering the player with ease. Meanwhile, Koga is out fighting as alphas for the first time but is having a difficult time. He is quickly outnumbered and outmatched, and it seems like he may not make it out alive. Eventually, Koga's situation becomes severe, and it looks like he may not survive. But just when things seem hopeless, Jin arrives and transforms into Zet. With his new powers, he can easily defeat the players and save Koga, but he turns back to white again. Together, they head to the lab to figure out why Red Zet turned white. At the lab, the two meet Dr. Seizo Amagi, who is the creator of the Zet system. Dr. Amagi explains that the Zet system is an attempt to create the perfect being. He also reveals that there is a way to bring out the true power of Zet, but it requires something called the Zet factor. Konoha possesses the key to completing Zet. Haitani and his men creep into the Amagi home to retrieve the pendant, but Konoha wakes up and finds Jin standing in front of her. She hands him the pendant, unaware that he is actually a clone created by the Amagi Corporation. Meanwhile, Koga is still struggling to become a true hero and has been training hard. He believes that he can defeat players on his own now, but when he confronts one, he quickly realizes that he still has much to learn. Jin, on the other hand, continues to search for answers about the true nature of Zet and the clone program. Konoha goes missing and Kuga receives a phone call from the man who gave him the first test. The caller reminds Koga of the test he took where he had to choose between his sister and 3 high school girls he didn't know. Koga chose to save his sister and the girls were killed. The caller reveals that he is the one who planned the test and the killings. He invites Koga to a party, promising to return Konoha to him if he attends. Koga attends the party with Jin, who he has asked to help him rescue Konoha. After they arrive at the party, they discover that the caller is actually a wealthy businessman named Akemi. He reveals that he has been conducting experiments on humans to create the perfect beings known as players. Akemi believes that he can use Koga and Jin to further his experiments, but the two refuse to be his pawns. Desperate to save Konoha, they confront Akemi, who unleashes his most powerful player yet. Koga transforms into alphas to fight the player, but it proves to be too strong. Just when all seems lost, Jin reveals his true form as Zet and joins the fight. With the combined strength of alphas and Zet, they defeat Akemi's player and rescue Konoha. However, they soon realize that Akemi's experiments are far from over and that they must continue to fight against the players to protect humanity. Means there is more action, so stay with us. Haitani continues to create and control more advanced players, putting the city in danger. Jin, as Zet, fights to protect the city and is joined by Koga, who transforms into Alpha to help. However, Koga is quickly overpowered, and Jin is forced to protect both of them. Eventually, they manage to defeat the advanced players. The battle between Zet and Haitani continues in Amagi Tower. Despite his injuries, Zet tries to fight back but is struggling to maintain his form. Haitani reveals his true motives. He wants to merge with Zet to become a godlike being. Meanwhile, Konoha and Koga make their way to the tower, but they are stopped by some of Haitani's minions. Koga fights them off and makes it to the tower, where he joins the battle against Haitani. As the battle continues, Jin remembers the time when he and his friend Hanako made a promise to always protect each other. Although she was also a player, he has feelings for her. This memory gives him the strength to transform into his complete form as Zet and defeat Haitani once and for all. However, Jin's victory comes at a price. He is now trapped in his Zet form and cannot change back. But now Koga wants him to die for the sake of humankind. But Jin defeated him. It looks like he will kill Koga, but he was a human inside and he controlled his anger. He leaves him there and vanishes away, jumping from the building. No one sees him afterward. However, he appears in the end secretly to save 2 girls. The story perhaps goes on and may have something in the next season. Who knows? So, that's a wrap on our recap of the thrilling ZETMAN anime series. With its action-packed scenes, complex characters, and intense storyline, ZETMAN is sure to leave a lasting impression on you all. Don't miss out on this unforgettable experience. Watch ZETMAN now.